For most of human history, medicine was not based on science. It was based on belief. Doctors did not understand bacteria. They did not know about viruses. They could not see inside the body. They did not know what caused disease. They only knew one thing: people were suffering. And something had to be done. Without microscopes or laboratory tests, illness looked mysterious. A fever felt like an invasion. Pain felt like punishment. Infection felt like corruption spreading through flesh. So early medicine followed a simple idea. If disease is powerful, the cure must be powerful too. Pain became proof that treatment was working. If a patient vomited, blistered, or fainted, it meant something was happening, and something happening felt better than nothing. This way of thinking shaped medicine for centuries, and it led doctors to choose substances that were not just strong, but deadly. Among the most famous of these was mercury. Mercury was called quicksilver. It was shiny, strange, and moved like liquid metal. It looked unnatural, which made people believe it had unnatural powers. Doctors prescribed mercury for skin diseases, stomach problems, and infections. But its most famous use was as a treatment for syphilis. Syphilis was one of the most feared diseases in Europe. It caused sores, pain, madness, and death. It destroyed bodies slowly and publicly. When mercury was given to syphilis patients, something interesting happened. Some symptoms faded. Not because the disease was cured, but because the poison weakened the body in other ways. Doctors believed they had found a miracle. They rubbed mercury ointment into patients' skin. They made them swallow mercury pills. They placed them in sealed rooms and forced them to sweat out the poison. This treatment had a nickname: the cure that kills. Patients began losing their teeth. Their gums rotted. Their organs failed. Many went insane. But doctors focused on one thing. Some symptoms disappeared, and when patients died, the disease was blamed, not the cure. To the doctors of the time, this was not cruelty. It was logic. They believed disease was something dirty inside the body, something that needed to be driven out. If the medicine hurt, it meant it was fighting the illness. Mercury was not the only poison used this way. Arsenic became another popular remedy. In small doses, arsenic changed how people looked. It made skin pale, eyes brighter, complexions smoother. In Victorian Europe, pale skin meant beauty. It meant wealth. It meant you did not work in the sun. So arsenic was sold as a beauty product. Women took arsenic tablets to lighten their skin. They drank arsenic water to improve their appearance. They believed they were becoming healthier and more attractive. At first, it seemed to work. But arsenic does not improve health. It hides damage. Slow poisoning caused hair to fall out, nerves to fail, organs to shut down. People were not becoming beautiful. They were becoming sick. But the early results were enough to convince them. Humans have always loved short-term improvement, even when long-term destruction follows. To us, these practices sound insane, but to the people of the past, they made sense. Disease was not understood as infection. It was seen as imbalance, as evil inside the body, as corruption that had to be burned out. Treatment had to be violent because disease was violent. Treatment had to be painful because disease caused pain. Doctors believed strong medicine required strong suffering. This belief was not based on science. It was based on symbolism. If illness looked like corruption, then poison felt like purification, and belief can be dangerous when it replaces evidence. This way of thinking dominated medicine for centuries. Doctors bled patients, burned them, poisoned them, starved them, not because they wanted to harm, but because they wanted control over something they could not understand. Everything began to change in the 1800s. Scientists discovered bacteria. They learned about germs. They saw how disease actually spread. For the first time, illness had a visible cause. Medicine stopped guessing and started testing. Treatments were compared. Results were measured. Traditions were questioned. Mercury and arsenic slowly disappeared from clinics, not because people became canard, but because proof became stronger than belief. Doctors could finally say, "This works. This doesn't. This heals. This kills." The poison cures of the past were abandoned. But the story does not really belong to mercury or arsenic. It belongs to us. Humans want answers. We want cures. We want control over suffering. And when science is missing, we fill the gap with belief. We trust authority. We trust tradition. We trust what feels powerful. Pain feels powerful. Strong medicine feels serious. Violent treatment feels effective. Today, we look back and laugh at poison medicine. But one day, people will look back at us. They will see treatments we thought were normal, procedures we believed were necessary, chemicals we trusted, and they will ask the same question: how could they think this was helping? History does not show us how smart we are. It shows us how desperate we are to feel safe. Every generation believes it has reached the truth, and every generation is partly wrong. The doctors who poisoned their patients did not think they were villains. They thought they were healers. They acted with good intentions. But good intentions are not enough. Without knowledge, even healing becomes harm. The past is full of strange cures, but its lesson is simple. Belief without evidence is dangerous. Authority without proof is deadly. This was a page from history's shadows, and this is Shadow Pages.